strength and show me your weakness. We're in this together now. We're in this together now. Give me your love and tell me your secrets. 'Cause we're in this together now. Yeah, we're in this together now. No, 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 no. I'll keep you safe, I'll give you my everything. Even if we're falling down, even if we're falling down, all of me is yours, every part of me. 'Cause we're in this together now. You and me together now. What's the point of living if we're scared to lose each other? What's the point of living without you? Tell me now and I'll stop fighting. Tell me now and I'll stop breathing. I don't want to be here without you. Without you. Without you. Without you. Without you. No, 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 no. I'll be your light, I'll keep you from darkness. Even when the sun don't shine, even when the sun don't shine. Give me your strength, show me your weakness. 'Cause we're in this together now. You and me together now. What's the point of living if we're scared to lose each other? What's the point of living without you? Tell me now and I'll stop fighting. Tell me now and I'll stop breathing. I don't want to be here without you. Without you. Without you. Without you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Back for our usual Saturday morning show. Not heaps to talk about today, but there is a couple of interesting stories, so I don't think it's going to be a particularly long one, but it should be a fun one. So how is everyone? Now, let me just bring up the pre-show down here, just so that I know where we're up to. Actually, I can do it from here, can't I? H2R graphics. Let me go there. And then I think I can do it from here. Pre-show. Oh, yes, I love it when it's working. Well, look, you can even see me from here. I love it. So how are we all? I've had a really good week, although it's winter here now. It is a cold day today. It's 12 degrees Celsius, which I've got no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. We always whinge. We're funny ourselves. The second it gets a bit cool, we start whinging. I mean, 12 is not cold if you're talking about European standards, but it's certainly cool for us here. Luckily, we don't get, very long in winter, I suppose. It starts to warm up again. So, yeah, got some interesting things I've got to review this week, actually. A couple of big wireless things that I'm really excited about reviewing for you guys. So I can't wait for that. And I think the chat is working, but let's go through the chat and just see if this works. Last week, it would not work, and I've got no idea why. Oh, well... No, yes, it's working. Nevek saying, good morning. G'day, buddy. How you going? John's here too. G'day, John. How are you, mate? Dario is from the UK. Boy, you're up late. What time is it over there? It is, well, around about, 12:30 p.m. Boy, you're up nice and late, Dario. I'm going to get back to doing the weekly ones for you guys, so things will come up. I'll probably try and do it Wednesday night, my time, I think. So then it might be, it's going to be a better time for you guys over in Europe, etc. Alien Drone said, hey, David and David Philosophy, 4:35 p.m. here in Oregon. And David Files. Good day, all. Leslie said. Joseph said, thoughts on the Canon R10 and the R7? I think they're really good, actually. I think it's probably something that Sony have to answer. Let me know, too, how the audio and everything is, guys. Just checking how that is. Yeah, I think those cameras are really good. And in fact, that's going to be the first story I'm going to talk about today with new rumours about the... well, it's a ZV camera that's potentially going to be coming out. So we're going to look at that together. So, but I think the R10 and the R7 are very good, particularly the R7. Mark said, hello, everyone from Austin, Texas. Rob is also here saying, hello, everybody. John said it's 100 degrees here in Texas. Well, it's a little bit less than that here. Let me just see, what is 12 degrees? I'll tell you, because it's cold. Fahrenheit. So 12 degrees, 60. Oh, well, it's about 55, 56, something like that. Let me try 56, see. Yeah, it's around 56 degrees today. That's freezing for us. It's I'm all rugged up outside. I've got the heater on up here. It's on 23 degrees or something. So it's lovely and warm in the studio, that's for sure. Let me just come back here. But yeah, I've heard you're having a bit of a heat wave over there. There's some really hot temperatures I saw on the news this morning. Greetings from Southwest Florida, Rocco said. Nevak said 12 is 54. That is not cold. Yeah, I know, but it's cold for us, I'll tell you. That's about as cold as we get down here, but it's pretty cold. 12 degrees, 53.6. Joseph, a thing... does the thing of reviews of the R7 are pretty impressive? Yeah, they are. The reviews look really good on that camera. And I think that, like I said, I do think Sony have to answer that camera, and they're probably going to. It's just a matter of time. The chip shortage is causing issues, I think. Mark also said 105 degrees tomorrow. I wish that was me. Considering upgrading from the A6400. What to, Rob? Which camera? I still love that. I got it back. That's what I'm using today. I got my A6400 back. I've so missed the little thing. So it's back there. So now my ZV-E10 is able to be used for other things again. So I've got that sitting there. Let me just put that back down because I'm going to talk about that shortly. G'day, Cobbler. I love it. G'day, Cobbler. How's your didgeridoo? Dental export. Hi from the UK. I love it. The happy clam. Are we having a dry rain? We are having dry rain here in Origo. What's dry rain? It means it just dries up before it hits the ground, is it? Is that what it means? I think Canon RF lenses are also reported to be outstanding but not cheap. Yeah, the RF lenses are very, very good, but they're not cheap. That's right. I suppose you've also got to remember too that Sony have had a massive sort of leap ahead with lenses. I mean, initially we had also the same problem. When those cameras first came out, we had very few lenses and they were very, very expensive. Whereas now we've got so much of a range now with Sony that you know, it's a lot cheaper. But the other thing too is it's the mount as well. Because Sony have allowed those lenses to be made by anyone, it's certainly given us better options, and I'm so glad they went down that avenue. You know, I mean, it's terrific because it's made the lenses cheaper. We've got many more third-party suppliers that can, you know, supply them, like Sigma, Samyang, Tamron, you know, Viltrox. I mean, it's great. So we're very, very lucky, really, on the Sony side, that's for sure. Rob said, have bought many Sony lenses, so not much of a push. All right, so let me just get rid of that rundown from there. I'm just going to put chapters in later. That's why they do this, so that I can work out where they go, because it's easy when you see these little chapters coming up. So let me switch over. I'm just going to turn that off, go back to social. I will come back to the chat too, guys. So if you want to leave messages, just keep chatting away. Let me bring this back home. Let's go this. I should work, I think. All right. New setup today. I thought I'd do something a little bit different with me in a phone there, and also a bit of brighter colour in the background. I know, I like playing around. You know what I'm like. Anyway, this is interesting because this new camera that they keep talking about, there's big rumours going around that we're going to have... Oh, by the way, too, I think I've got to make that a little bit bigger. Let me just see if can I move that down? Because I need to get to the other stories, or are they there? No. Just trying to see where they... Factory sound. That's weird. I'm only getting the one story coming up. Let me just drag this off the screen for a minute. I'm just going to have a quick check of it. Oh, won't let me. Oh. I knew there'd have to be a problem somewhere. Oh, boy. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Well, looks like we might just be talking about this one today. When I dragged it over, I had about 4 stories. I can discuss them anyway because they were just quick ones that I was just going to show. So it's yeah, it's not really a problem. All right. So anyway, let's get back to this. So Sony, they're saying, no, folks, the new ZV APS-C camera is not a high-end camera. So there's been rumours going around that it was going to be a mini A9 or an A1, actually, in fact. So this is interesting when they're saying now that it's not going to be that. But I do think there's going to be a fairly big jump in this camera compared to what we previously had. I mean, as you know, I have the, you know, I love my ZV E10. I use it all the time. I mean, I really like it, particularly because of the fold-out screen. I've got a small rig cage on this, so it gives me the ability to, you know, put other things on there, lock other things, and put handles on and grips on. And I'm using the Sony remote as well that I really like too, that works very, very well with this camera. So it's going to be interesting. Oh, the other thing too, I love this 10-18. It's stabilized. This camera is not stabilized at all. So this lens is actually stabilized that's on it. It's got the optical stabilization. See there, it says optical steady shot. So it gives me that ability to be able to, you know, do that vlogging or hand holding and things like that. And that's what I love about that lens. The new ones that are coming out aren't having that feature, which is interesting. So perhaps the next ones that are going to be coming out, the next APS-C cameras are going to have stabilization built in. But it seems to be too that they're using, they may be moving more towards the active stabilization, and you know, we might talk about that a little bit later as well. But they're saying in here, I know other websites are spreading fake rumours about the new ZVE camera to be a high-end model with incredible performance. I'm sorry to disappoint you folks. My job is not to spread clickbait rumours, but rumours from solid sources, and they tell me it doesn't look like this is going to be a high-end model. Don't get me wrong, it will be a very capable camera, but still an entry mid-level APS-C model for vloggers. If you are dreaming about a mini A1, please read the fake news spread on other websites, because basically he's saying that he's not going to spread that on SARS. But I've got a feeling that this might be a pretty good release. There's a few things that they need to add onto this camera particularly. I'm hoping that they can put the dual card slots in, because I think that's really, really important. The other thing too is, like I mentioned the stabilization. At the moment, there's no stabilization in the ZVE10 at all. That's why I like that lens so much, because it has stabilization built in. It's another reason why I like the Batis 85 too, because that also has stabilization built in. And the 16 to 35 full frame lens that I use is stabilized as well. The new model I don't think is, the cheaper model. The new model that's just come out. So I think there's a couple of ways that they might do it with this camera. It does look like this is going to be the next one that's announced, so APS-C, and it does probably match because they released those 3 lenses just the other day. So it sort of makes sense that, you know, that this might be the way that they go, that they're going to keep or release a new APS-C camera. I was hoping that they'd bring out one with a different body, something like an A7C or something like that, or even an A7 III, where you could fit, like I said, the dual cards in. I'm not sure if you'd be able to fit dual cards in this smaller body, because the card goes inside underneath the battery compartment. So I don't know how they're going to get around that in this body itself. And that worries me, because I really would like them to do, you know, like dual card slots on this camera. So it may be that they've got to sacrifice the body a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. I'm really hoping that is the case. And I just saw the Happy Clamp said, yes, the rolling shutter needs to be addressed too. Yes, it does. The issue is that the sensor that they're using on these cameras has been the same for ages. You know, it's the same 24 megapixel sensor. I think they definitely need to address that. And in fact, the other stories I was going to show was that it looks like Sony have made the Z9 camera, the Nikon Z9 camera sensor, looks like it's a Sony, and also the new Fuji is also using a Sony sensor as well. So we know Sony can produce these new sensors, it's just that they don't seem to want to put them into their APS-C cameras. Now remember that you've just had the Canon release, that was the R10 and the R6, I think it was. R7, yeah, the R10 and the R7. They're a really big step up compared to what we have in Sony, I think. I agree with what the Happy Clamp's saying. The rolling shutter needs to be addressed in the A-series cameras because it's terrible. It is really bad, in fact, and they definitely need to address that. So if you are someone that will be, you know, doing sort of fairly fast pans and things like that, it's awful. So that's got to be addressed. You know, I'm hoping they can put a really good stacked sensor in these cameras. The autofocus, I think now is good enough on all of the APS-C cameras, particularly the new ones like the A6-600, the A6-400 and the ZVE10 particularly is incredible. You know, I mean, it's so fast now that I don't think autofocus any longer really matters that much. Yeah, they could probably give a better sensor and then give us some silent shooting in that. Remember, it's a different marketplace when you're dealing with APS-C to your full frame cameras, so I don't think it's going to take sales away from an A1. But, you know, they could definitely, you know, give us the ability to have a bigger buffer and, you know, a faster frame rate in these cameras. So I'm hoping that if they are going to do an update to, you know, this ZV camera that they're talking about, that it is a substantial upgrade, that we've got a new sensor. I mean, it would be great probably for a lot of people if they push that, you know, the megapixels to around about 30 odd megapixels. That would be terrific as well. 4K 60, I think, is needed definitely in this camera now. We've got to compete with these other cameras that have just been announced. So, you know, that's very, very important as well. So I think it's critical that Sony start to release things. And before this, I was a little bit worried that they weren't going to do that before they released those lenses that just came out. And I think now that they've released those lenses, I'm pretty confident that they are going to release, you know, another ZV camera. I do believe that the ZV is now back on the marketplace. They're probably hard to find because they're only just up getting their production back in line again. The A6-400 now is back in production again, so you're going to be able to get those back. So, you know, and I think they're a needed camera. Like I said, I love my APS-C cameras. I use them all the time. So I even use them as a second wedding camera often. I'll have my A9 or I'll have the A7S III, and then I'll just have that strapped to me, say with the 10 to 18 millimeter, and I'll use that for some of the wide frames and things like that I'm doing. And I'll also use macro on the APS-C all the time. I just like the way that the macro lenses are for that, and I think it's still a great format. But like I said, the only thing that does worry me is the fact that there's only one card in there. So that's why I wouldn't use it solely for sort of wedding photography. So if they say bring out a new ZV-E10, or it might be, I don't know what they're going to call it, ZV-2 or something, I'm not sure. If they bring out one of those that has 4K 60, if it has the dual card slots, it would be very, very tempting for me to get that, you know, and I probably would update that as well. It might be that I sell both of these two and then I just get that one as, you know, in its place. But I'm hoping that there's a new sensor, obviously. I think the time has come where they really do need to change the sensor in these cameras and put the better color science that they've got in the newer say A7 IV and the you know, the A7S III, the A1. They need to sort of put that color science in it as well. So that's another thing that they've got to address. And I do also love having the EVF as well. But like I said, if they're going to do this, it's going to have to be a much bigger body. If they're going to put a decent EVF on these cameras and everything else, and I'm talking a decent EVF, not you know, one of these crappy ones that they seem to put in, like have something that's, say, like the A7 III one, I'd be happy with. So I'm hoping that's what happens. I'd love to know too in the chat what you think as well. But I am confident that this is going to come out. I'm still very confident that there'll be another full frame camera announced this year. I'm not certain whether it will be a new A9. I think that's probably the camera that's going to come out, and also an A7R 5 will be coming out sometime this year, or it may just be announced this year and then released sort of late in the year. But I'm still confident those two cameras are going to come out. But it looks like from the rumours that we may be going to get this new APS-C camera fairly soon, and that makes sense due to the fact of these new lens releases as well. I did also notice too, I don't think, let me just see if I can go back into here. I can update the website from here, I think. I can discuss stuff from here. It just takes me a second to get down to them. Where were we? There was 3 new Tamron lenses sort of rumoured as well. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about too. This is really cool because this Alex fan has been testing the 600, 400 and 135 GM lenses on the Nikon Z9. Now, it's this tiny adapter that they put on the back through here, but he's been saying, so this is with the 135, he's saying that you get full AF on all focus area. IAF works super fast. Let's just say it works almost like native lenses, so 95%. Boy, have they improved these adapters. The adapters previously used to be really quite slow. You know, I mean, in fact, I hated using them, but it looks like that they've really done a good job on this one. They're saying 95%, which I'd be happy with. Still miss AF here and there, but that is on the Z9. It's one of the best adapters to date that will be able to drive the linear motors of something like the 600 GM, like a native Sony camera. And you can still see it here, like I said, where it's put through the paces there. I can't play it because it'll probably come up as a strike, but you can see the little lens adapter through here. So it's not adding really anything to the camera at all. Like I said, it's super slim. And you can see here that they're using the 400mm. That's the adapter here, which looks, it's incredible. I don't know if they mentioned about the cost or anything of this. But boy, you know, if this works really well, it's a great option for Nikon users to be able to use some of the Sony lenses, because they are lacking with some of these lenses, particularly because, like I said, it's a, you know, the newer sort of mount for the camera. You haven't got many of those lenses there, so this is great. And if it is as fast focusing as what they're saying it is, boy, it's a great option for Nikon to do that. There was another camera story down here I wanted to discuss with you guys. Let me just keep going. Where were we? I had all these lined up, but then they disappeared for some reason. It was just about the Nikon. Sorry, about the new Sony lenses, Tamron lenses. Let me get to it. Oh yeah, this was just confirming that the Nikon Z9 uses the Sony sensor. That's the name of the sensor there. They're saying it's the same. Now remember too that when you're dealing with this as well, it doesn't really mean that it's a Sony camera. Yes, it's a Sony sensor, and it's great for Sony because they're making money from selling all these sensors like this, and also the Fuji one, which I think comes after this one. But it's great in the fact that they have that too. But there's a lot of other things in the background going on here. The software that they develop it is different, and that's why the files often look different. That's why the colors can look different and things like that as well. Even the focus can be changed too. So the sensor's only one small part of this. It doesn't mean that, you know, that when you've got a Sony sensor inside the Nikon Z9 that it's a Sony camera. It's not. In fact, it's a Nikon, but it's using a Sony sensor. But it's just great for Sony because they're making money from these other things as well, which is terrific for Sony as a company. Let me go to here. Where was it? I think it was the next story. This is to see another one here as well. We've got, is the Sony sensor the one used by the Fuji X H2S? And it looks like it probably is. It's this one that they're talking about here. And it looks like that the Fujifilm is using also the Sony sensor too. So again, Sony are making money left, right and centre really from all of these sensors that are out there. And I think they're saying it's the same sensor too in the OM1 as well, which is incredible. So, I mean, they're both really good cameras. And like I said, it's about time that perhaps Sony jumped up and grabbed this sensor as well. Keep going down. Where was it? It was 3 Tamron lenses, I think, was the rumour. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I just wanted to mention this because there are rumours also of 4 new Tamron FE lenses. Among them is a stunning 150 to 400 2.8 to 5.6 zoom. That sounds really interesting. And if that was true, I can't wait to get my hands on it. If I knew, I couldn't tell you anyway. But I think that will be fantastic. The 35 to 150 is incredible. It's one of the best lenses I've actually tested. It really is an incredible lens. So if they're going to bring out a 150 to 400 and it's the same quality as that lens, that's really exciting. The other lenses here that they were talking about too is a 35 3.5 pancake lens, so it's going to be tiny. A Tamron 45mm 1.4. That sounds really interesting. A Tamron 90mm f1.8. And also a Tamron 150 to 400. This is the 2.8 to 5.6. It'll probably change fairly quickly from 2.8, you know, going up. I know the 35 did. I think it went up fairly quick. I can't remember the exact figures. I think as soon as you hit about 70 mil or something, it jumped up. But it's still a beautiful lens. Like I said, it's an amazing lens. So if they give you that performance in this 100 to 400, so the 150 to 400mm, it's going to be an absolute killer lens. Now let me just go back to me because we can open up some Q&A. So let me just go run down. I'll just bring this up so we can, I know where the timeline is. And social. So fire away, guys, if you had any questions. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a very, very long show today. Not much news, but it's been interesting news anyway. So let me go down to where I was with it. Which gimbal do you recommend? Well, look, my favourite gimbal definitely is the DJI Rowan RS2, I think it is. It's their new one that's out. But I do believe if you're interested in a DJI gimbal, just hold off because there's rumours on the 15th. I did see a article posted that there was going to be a new gimbal announced or some other things. So just wait because there could be a new one announced on the 15th. But I love the DJI, but I also love the Moser ones that I've got. The Aircross I like. The Firetech ones that I like too. The Moser Air 2, I think the latest one is the Air 2, is fantastic if you like larger loads. And the Aircross, I've got the Aircross 2 and the Aircross 3 as well. They're very good as well. I really like those too. But, you know, Firetech make great ones as well. So there's so many out there. But like I said, if money was no option, I'd probably get the Rowan RS2. Canon EOS M be like... Sure, that means I just loaded on one Photo Raw 22.5. I've got that, Rob. Yeah, I've got it because I was interested in the resizing plugin for it. It's meant to be sort of a competition for gigapixel. So I downloaded that yesterday as well. Looks like some very significant improvements for a free upgrade. Yep, I've got that. I'll have to have a look at it. The Happy Clam said, I hope the rolling shutter is addressed. Well, so do I. Oh, Long Rider just gave me a donation. Let me just bring that up. Oh, now I think, let me go. I think I've got some celebrations. Let's do this. You ready? I should add some music to that or something, shouldn't I? Thanks so much, buddy. I love it. Here's the confetti for you again. All right, so let's keep going down. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. The rolling shutter needs to be addressed. Yes, it does. And that's a fact. It really does need to be addressed, particularly in the A6000, their APS-C cameras. It's not good. Needs a viewfinder before I buy. I do miss the viewfinder. Yeah, I have to be honest, particularly if it's a bright sunny day. I do miss that, and that's why I love the A7S so much, because it has that amazing viewfinder that you have on the A1 too. It's just stunning. I mean, I just love using that. It's just so good. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if they're going to start adding dual card slots, if they're going to say add an EVF in there as well and things like that, they're going to have to do something with the body, because it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be big enough. G'day, Mark. Perhaps Sony will have an APS-C camera without mechanical shutter and dual stack sensor, a Mini A1. That's what they were talking about, that it was going to be a Mini A1, Mark. I hope that's true. I mean, it would be great if they did do that. It would be amazing if they put a stack sensor in in a camera like that size. I mean, how fantastic would that be? And, you know, it's not going to affect the sports shooters, because they're still going to go out and buy this, you know, the big, rugged, high-end body. Do you think we'll get an updated A6600? Well, yes, I do, but I'm not sure what it's going to be. I mean, look, I still think the Z series tends to be more video-centric, so it's meant to be a vlogging-type camera. So I think there's still room for an A6600 upgrade. You know, and whatever that is, I'm not sure, but I still do think there is room for that. I'm hoping Sony just don't go down that vlogging route of making the ZV-E it now. You know, they're just going to keep that for vlogging. And then if you want to go for more sort of photography-centric ones, you're going to have to go for full frame. I'm hoping that's not the case. I do think there'll be an update to the A6600, but, you know, it's taking a bit of a while, isn't it? Juicy said, hi, David, how are you? How are you, Juicy? Good to see you here. All this nice things you talked about would put the new APS-C camera price up so much that maybe for a few extra bucks you might get a nice full frame. Definitely secondhand. That's true, Dario. The thing is too, there's always a market for this. You know, there's always a market for that because people have the APS-C. Yes, look, you can use Super 35 on a full frame camera, but it's always nice to have this smaller camera that, you know, that you might want to just take around traveling and stuff. I always often take my A6 400 or the ZV-E10 usually now, but I always take that when I'm traveling and stuff because I just like this smaller camera, you know. So even if it did go up, yes, it would probably have to. There's still a place for it, I think. Yeah, I do think that's true. The other thing too, being a smaller sensor, remember, it's never as good with noise. So you're never going to get that full frame look either. There's a look that the full frame does give, particularly with the depth of field. You can get good depth of field with the APS-C, but it won't match a full frame, you know, depth of field. So, you know, that's interesting. But it's nice to have the reach with the APS-C for a smaller cost. Yes, if the price went up, yes, I know, but I still think there's a market for it. But you're right, you will get some cheaper second-hand ones too. G'day, Brett, how are you? No stabilising in the PZ 10 to 20. I know, that's why I wouldn't buy that lens, Brett. I think that was a mistake. I really... Look, I know you've got active stabilisation, which does work very, very well. But if you combine active stabilisation with this, with the 10 to 18, you can get quite good results hand-holding this. You know, I mean... Like I showed it before, that it, you know, it says the optical steady shot on there. So, you know, it's... I think it's an important thing, and that's why I won't sell my... is that the best lens? No, it's not. I've got no doubt that that 10 to 20 mil would be a better lens, but I just don't want to give up that stabilisation that I've got, particularly for my A6400 and the ZVE10, because they don't have stabilisation. They've only got the active stabilisation. So I'll be keeping that. But yeah, it's a problem. I mean, I know it's got the, you know, your motor if you want to use that, but I'll be keeping the one that I've got. Dual card slot, 4K 60 stabilisation, so on will come at a price. Yep, definitely. It certainly will. Honestly, I have no interest in APS-C. I far prefer the Fuji there. Fuji make great cameras. They really do. And like I said, the new Canon cameras are terrific too. I far prefer Fuji. The full-frame Sony and APS-C Fuji is what I invested in. Yeah, interesting. Mark said, are we still forgetting the chip shortage, etc.? There will be huge delays on new cameras since previous bodies are still sparse. Yeah, like even my A6400 that I've just got back, Mark, took 2 weeks to repair. Normally, Sony get them back to me within about 3 days when I have an issue, but they had to order the part in and they had to wait for it. So it took about 2 weeks. So even there, you know, it was harder to get parts, but I've got it back. So the General says APS-C has its place. I like the small form factor, so do I. That's what I love about it. And you put it with a lens like this, like the Sigma 16mm is just gorgeous. I love that lens. I like the small form factor. When I put it in a housing as my underwater camera for serious photography, though, I go with my A7R III. Yep, fully can understand that. Z9 IMX 609 and the A1 IMX 610. Oh, interesting. So, yeah, the numbers are slightly different. I wonder if that means that the A1 is slightly better. I mean, you don't know, do you? The General said, yes, APS-C certainly has its place. Just prefer the handling and look of the Fuji cameras for that. In a Sony body, the full frame and 1-inch stack sensor are the things that I like. I found, look, I did go for... and you know what, it might be one day that I do sort of go around and buy another camera. I'd love to, because I do love playing with gadgets. I mean, I do love trying new things. So it might be one day that I get one of these other cameras and have it as a, you know, as a thing to sort of muck around with. But the problem is if you're dealing with it and you're working professionally with it, it's tough when you have different menus and things like that. I like to be able to shoot, and even though the APS-C, you know, has different controls and stuff, they still work very, very similar to their full frame cameras, and the menus work very, very similar. So I like to have that aspect of it, so I can work quickly and I'm not there fumbling around, you know, like trying to get things to work. So if it wasn't for like paid stuff where I was using 2 cameras or something like that, I mean, I'd love to, you know, like try something like a one of these Canon, the R6 or something, or even try the Fuji, because, you know, they're all great cameras, that's for sure. Leslie said, do you think APS-C will be a stack sensor? I hope so. I really do, Leslie. I really think it's about time now that Sony sort of stepped up with that, that's for sure. Long Rider gave that donation too. Thanks so much, buddy. Rob said, that Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8 looks intriguing. I'm just not sure it's, despite its outstanding performance, that it would be worth the cost of upgrading. It's a great lens. It really is a good lens. I absolutely loved using that lens, Rob. Stuart said, evening all. G'day, Stuart. How are you, mate? John said, I'm looking to get a Tamron 35 to 150 soon, and adding the 150 to 400 would eliminate my 28 to 75 and 17 to 28. I will be interested in the new ZV camera as well and get the 10 to 18. Yeah, the 10 to 18 is a really underestimated lens. I really actually like it. Whether there's variations, I don't know, but my version is really quite good. It's certainly good enough for everything that I use it for. Yes, there's distortion, but there will be with everything at that sort of, you know, wide focal length. There's nothing that you can't fix in post, though. Hey from Nova Scotia. G'day, Stephen. How are you? Dave, is the new ATM ME you have there, is that silent? Yes. Well, it is this. Yeah, it's right there. Yep. I'll show you. Hang on. Let me. Oh, I can do it through here. I'll show you the setup. Let me just start my Apple TV, so I can stream to it. I've just got to wait for it to show up. So once that comes up, all right, so now I should just be able to screen share Studio. And let me open up this. All right, let me switch. What camera is that for? All right, so yeah, this is the 2ME here. So you can see it's got 20 inputs and it's got 12 outputs that are on the back. It's really good, actually. I'm using this thing here, which is a hyperdeck. I'm actually using that to play the videos that you saw at the beginning of the video. And how do I turn this? Oh, I'm on log, actually. Let me take log off. Can I turn it off? There we go. I was on log. I use log recording through this. Yeah, I'm using the hyperdeck to play videos, and I'm using my Ninja V actually to record everything. So when I'm doing recordings that you see online, I'm using the Ninja V there. But yeah, it's pretty quiet. I mean, it's nothing that really. I think the air conditioner actually that I've got up there is that's louder than what this is. That's certainly louder than what all this stuff is. I don't find that sort of bad at all. And I've just got a couple of monitors around. You can see that that's the, my multi-view monitor. This one up here is for the other 10. So because it's got 20 inputs, I've got another 10 that I put up there as well. That's my web presenter, which is streaming live. You can see it's at 4K. That's my data bit rate that you're looking at through. It's hard to. It's hard to do it. It tells you your data bit rate. It also shows you sound and things like that, and also cache will. It's in case if you get a bad signal that it comes up. Because I'm streaming 4K at the moment. You can see it's 2160 at 25p at high rates. And then I've got just down here a couple of stream decks that I'm using. I need the whole two of them now because I'm using all these cameras. Like, it's got 20 cameras. I'm originally going to do this so that I can go to my studio and do live shoots and things like that, because I want to start doing things like that, particularly for my, I want to offer memberships, which I've already got there, but I'm going to offer live shoots for members. You can see the A6400 that's up there, and then I've got this light that's through there, and I've put these brackets that I've put on the ceiling that I can hang stuff down. You can see that I've got a down light, and my A9 is actually sitting up there pointing down, so I can do shots that will be in this area, so I can show lenses and things like that, so I can use that for displaying that sort of stuff. And then I've got a boom mic that I use here, which is a Sennheiser mic as well. And then over here, that's my Mac, the M1 Mac Mini. And I've got my MacBook Pro actually through the back in here. That's sitting through there. And then underneath I've got my audio. Look at the cables. That's my audio. I've got a Behringer X18. So there's 18 channels can go in that. And then I've got my network, well, my storage is through here. I've got a RAID system through here. I've got another RAID system that I use through here as well. And I've also got an NVMe drive that's in there too. And then I use my iPad with the audio. You can see the audio's through here. That's connected wirelessly. Well, it's actually Ethernet, actually. I've got it connected at the back here. But that's connected to that sound device that I had down there, the X18. So, yeah, it's a pretty good setup. And I use this for when I'm recording music. As you can see down the back, I've got my guitar and stuff like that all down the back, down there. That I use as well. So yeah, so that's it. So but yeah, it's pretty quiet. I mean, it's not noisy at all. The old Blackmagic stuff used to be really quite noisy, so this is, it's pretty good. So let me just switch that off. I'll just come back to me, and let me just stop that sharing. There, stop mirroring. Yeah, so that's how that setup all works. Where was I? Down. Yes, I hope that answers your those questions, Dave. Yeah, the fans are no problem at all. Stuart James said, for travel and days out, I still love the RX10. Yeah, that's a great camera for that. It's so small. I agree. It is. It's really good. I recently bought the Sony 70-350. I was blown away. It's a sleeper, A6 500. So you love that lens, huh? Hate to be a stickler, but it is a DJI Ronin, not Rowan. It's just the Australian accent, I think, V. I'm pretty sure I'm purely shooting for fun and a Sigma UK collaborator. If I was doing it professionally, I'd be full-frame Sony all the way. Fuji for fun, but Sony A7 IV is just astonishingly easy to use. Yeah, I know, it's such a great camera. How about low megapixel A7S III APS-C camera? I know, imagine that, long rider. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, I'd love something like that. 4K 60, I'm just hoping that they bring out, you know, one of these cameras with 4K 60 and a small form factor. That would be just a dream for me. May go R7 unless they do an A6600 update. Been too long. It has. It's been a long time, and it's about time that they, you know, fix that, isn't it? Completely agree on different systems causing confusion. If you've been shooting for a living, that's something you just can't waste time on. And that's what I used to do. See, I had the GH5, and I love that camera, the GH5. Yes, I had to manually focus, but I did love it. But it just caused too much confusion when I swapped between. I had to do things quickly. I got confused about which buttons I should try and press them, and it just didn't work, so I ended up selling it. If you're doing it for a living, you need them the same, I think. Yep, good. Thank you for getting used to the DJI Mini Pro. Brett says you got too many toys. I know, I have got a lot here, but I do want to really step the production up. That's the thing, Brett. I really want to push the production up of what I'm doing, and I want to be going live, like I said, in the studio. I want to be having multiple different camera angles and doing things like that for training as well, and things like that. So that's why I've sort of moved down that, you know, that avenue. Well, guys, that's it. We've got to the end. I'm going to go and get a coffee. It's about time that I had a morning coffee. Kerry's out there working, earning money for the family, which good on you, Kerry. I love you, darling. Now, apart from that, did I put the ending video on? I don't know. Let me just see. Does that come up? Ooh, what's it doing? I don't think it's doing anything. Yes, it is. Catch you, everyone. Bye for now.
Just another Friday in paradise.
How cool does that guy look? I mean, if you're talking about sexy, come on. I mean, come on. Oh. That body, you have to work to maintain that body. You just can't keep a body like that unless you really, really work at it. And you can see the definition. It's going to be interesting to see how many people are listening at the end of this, but you can see the definition of those legs. Look at that. Look at the arms. Just check out perfection.